What's up, guys? How's everyone today? Welcome to Fit Club Thursday. Today is episode 3 and we're gonna talk about strength, how we get stronger and how we get stronger through the training, nutrition and recovery. So there are a lot of different things that that can generate the strength and improve your strength, but basically the fundamental part is the super compensation that happened after the training. So if we talk about saying, okay, we're training, a couple of times a week, we improve our weight, we improve our repetitions. Of course, it's normal that we know, okay, we're training and we're gonna improve, we're gonna generate more muscle fibers, and our muscles are gonna be fuller, they're gonna look like a tone, and we're gonna lose weight, we're gonna get stronger, we're gonna get more muscle fibers and more volume. So is basically what happens. But it's got a lot of different variations, and of course it's not really that easy to organize everything together to actually achieve final results of getting stronger and getting fitter. So what I want to talk to you about is exactly what happened when we train. So basically, after the normal adaptation to a exercise, we are able to increase our intensity. While we increase the intensity, we're basically going towards to generate micro muscle tears on our muscle fibers, and those muscle tears has to be regenerated through the recovery. Of course, if we train once every 2-3 weeks, we're gonna get extremely sore because we're gonna go very hard in the training, and then we're gonna get super sore that we can barely walk, we can't sit down on the couch, or maybe we can't lift our hands above the head, and we're gonna rest it for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and of course then we're gonna go back to the gym and train again. Once we get a stable training routine that it's been doing it for 2 to 3 months, our basically feeling of soreness, it reduces a lot, and it's more generated of feeling like less soreness every time, and getting stronger a little bit slower, right? So past the first phases of eating adaptation to training load and exercises, everything is going to slow down. It has to be more precise. So let's say you haven't been training for your life, or you haven't been training for a couple of years or stuff like that. Once you get in the gym, if you got the right guide, the right indication, right programming, and you quite focus, you basically achieving much more results in the first 6 weeks than actually you're going to achieve it in after a couple of years that you've been training. Of course, we hit plateaus very often, and of course the training has to be different and has to be constantly basically vary. So you never really get into plateaus, you never really get stuck in a level of strength or level of growth. So basically what happened, once you you have a little bit more advanced in the training, what happened, you're training very hard, you're getting your muscle tearing down, you go all the little macro tears, you get very sore, and you're recovering, and you're eating the right things, you're eating enough protein, you're eating enough carbs, you're eating enough calories to actually regenerate those muscles. And then this regeneration, basically what it does, recreate extra muscle fibers, and that's where you're actually getting stronger. And if you're training exactly in a time where your body is compensating, super compensating on muscle fibers, you actually slowly improving. Let's say, simple example, let's say you've been training squats, doing 10 reps for 100 kilos. You've been training, you're getting quite sore, you've been training for a couple of weeks, and super compensation, what it does is every time you're training, it's like a fluctuation. So you're training, then super compensation happens, and basically you're getting used to the 100 kilos that you be able to, after a couple of weeks, 3, to squat 101 kilos, right? So if you're training often, you're gonna slowly improve, and of course you gotta go in with better results. Of course, if you're training today and then you're gonna wait 2 weeks to train again, the super compensation happens, but because a system try to get rid of anything that we don't use, you're basically losing your supercompensation. So that's why it's very important to maintain programming that at least lasting 12 weeks, because that's where you're really achieving the best results, and you might be able to actually maintain an EU even if you slow down in the training. However, once you stop training, it's a natural that we lose our muscle, we lose a little bit of our strength. So you definitely know that even athletes that have been training for 20, 30 years, once they actually achieving their retirement period and they just stop, they basically start losing the muscle that they have. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So basically what it is a system, it wants to reduce a daily calorie needed. So more muscle you have, more your system has to burn through the day to actually maintain your muscle alive. And if you don't use them, you're gonna reduce your muscle volume and your strength volume and your fitness level because you're not training enough. So done that in terms of understanding exactly how it works, the super adaptation, super compensation. I wanted to talk about exactly the three different things that I think they're very, very important to be able to actually get stronger and to get better muscle mass and to get a better physique and getting fitter, right? So the first thing is, of course, is the training. And training has to be done properly through a adaptation and a proper programming. Of course, there are a bunch of programming online. You can just put it down like a strength training. You're gonna find a bunch of exercises. Yeah, do this one, do that one, do 5x5 reps, and this one and that. In theory, they are all very good programs, and the difference come along with the personal training situation. As you probably know, everybody's different. So you can't just get a training package and give to somebody and pretend that that person is going to have the same result that somebody else has. So you got genetic involved, you got history involved, you got injuries, just the way that the people move, mentality, and a different way to adapt to training load. So basically what I'm saying is you got to get a very good strength program, and it has to be completely and totally adapted to your needs. So your fitness level and everything has to be exactly on you. So done there, you'll be able to actually increase your intensity and generate more muscle fibers and tearing down, and you basically generate more strength and more improvement throughout the workouts, throughout the season. So once there, it's basically learning proper technique. So what I'm saying is pretty much everybody can actually squat. Even who's been in the gym quite a long time actually, have a normal regular squat, and they're squatting down quite safely. The back stays quite, quite flat. So is everything pretty good? What I'm saying is proper techniques actually develop better muscle, and it gives a stimulus to your system that's much, much stronger than, improper technique. So there are a lot of people, they do squats that they call like a 3/4 squats because they're working out in regular gyms, and they're pretty much what everybody else do. So we do this sort of half through range of motion squat, and of course we'd be able to put more weights on muscles, but on the legs, but we're not really achieving what we want to achieve, the full range of motion and full strength, right? So once they actually find themselves in a different angle of depth of the squat, they won't be able to even lift half of the weight. So learning proper technique and full range of motion actually change a lot the transformation that you're looking for. So the second part of the training will be to actually learn proper technique and have a very good full range of motion, and basically explore everything that your body can do at that time. The other part is increasing the intensity. It's a lot of increasing intensity is a lot of mental, and so you gotta get into the situation where you actually enjoy training a little bit more. And to increase the intensity, you gotta enjoy and feel yourself doing the movement, right? So let's say normal person has been training for a while for a set of sets and weights and repetition, and it comes to you and say, okay, yeah, I've been doing 100 kilos of squat, 10 reps, and you see the squat, and the squat is up and down, 100 kilos like nothing, and put bar back on. It does another 3-4 sets and then go back and go home. So this basically is adapting to it, and his intensity through the repetition isn't high enough to actually generate a recovery and super compensation. So let's say the repetition they're actually counting on actually thinning down the muscle fibers is actually the last repetition. So let's say if you're able to squat as a max for 100 kilos for 15 repetitions, and you're always working on 10 repetitions, you will be not able to achieve a super compensation because you're not actually generating the intensity and the effort enough to actually generate a super compensation. So you basically training to maintain what you have, but you won't be able to actually improve. That's the good things. It's something you can definitely do once you achieved what you're looking for. So if you think that you're fit enough, you're strong enough, and you got enough of volume in your legs and or anything like that, if you're happy with the way you are at that time, you can definitely maintain the weight in the same way. You can keep maintaining it and you be staying in the same position. But if you want to improve, you got to push through a little bit more. You got to do a few more reps to increase your weight, because you got to push through the limit of nearly failing the repetition. Not all the time. Of course, the volume and intensity has to be constantly vary and has to be through a fluctuation. But you'll be having days where you have to push a little bit more and generate this sort of feeling that you basically about to fail the lift, because it's literally the last rep you are able to do. So then we talk about understanding all this training, what it generates, right? So let's say you're training, you're burning a lot of calories, you gotta recover a lot, you got a lot of, your legs are very sore, so you're gonna go home and you gotta basically get the fuel to have more energy to keep doing all your activities through the day and on the second day and third day. And of course you got to regenerate your your muscle fibers, right? So the first part is calories. So if you are looking forward to get stronger, if you're looking forward to actually build size and you're not really worrying about putting fat, you can basically eat as much calories as you like. Technically, you can eat a lot of calories as long as you're keeping your calories above your daily use, and through the training and life, you'll be basically having enough calories to regenerate your muscle and then going towards the super compensation. Of course, if you're looking forward to actually get fitter, you don't really want to increase your body fat that much. You have to be a little bit more stable. And what we normally do, we increase calories intake about 5 to 10%, no more than that. So in 2,000 calories, we probably increase the calories in about 100 or 200 calories, just because we don't want to get stronger and get bigger in terms of volume and basically get fatter too. So we don't want to put on so much weight, and then when we're gonna try to reduce body fat, we have to cut down so many calories and shorten up our training period because we're getting too fat, all right? So the calories should be just above your average. So if you want to lose weight, you gotta keep your calories below. If you're gonna get stronger and you're aiming exactly to get stronger and bigger, you gotta focus on calories and keep them a little bit above your daily intake. So the other part is understand the quality of the food. Like if you want to get stronger, you could basically eat pretty much what you like, but it won't be able to give you strength and long-lasting results if you've been having chips and burgers and fries and whatever other shit you can have pretty much every day. You're gonna get a bunch of calories, but you're not gonna get nutrients. So you're gonna have a lot of energy to push very hard in the gym, because you're gonna have a bunch of energy through fats that you're having and sugars, but you're not gonna have the right quality of the nutrients to actually recover all the system. It's not gonna work in the second day. So from here, from the quality of the food, we're going towards to the macros basically, right? So if you're looking to grow muscle, you gotta have enough protein in your system. You gotta have enough protein to regenerate the muscle fibers, and so you gotta guarantee that your diet actually has got enough protein. Of course, you don't want to eat like 400 grams of protein a day. We normally stay. It can be varying, depends on the person, depends on the lifestyle that you do, the training that you do. But we normally keep from 0.8 to 1.4 grams of protein for a kilogram. So in terms of kilograms, depends a lot. If you try to maintain your percentage of body fat as well. So you don't want to go increasing extremely your protein, because otherwise even maintain your calories low, it would be hard. But of course, like if you want to build, if you want to have strong muscle, that they are like shaping, that they are toning, and they are actually moving very strongly and fast, you need to have enough protein to regenerate the fibers and be actually ready to recompensate, super compensate. So that's pretty much what I'm talking about in terms of nutrition. The last part that a lot of people, they basically don't really care too much about, but in my opinion is actually one of the most important, is the recovery part. So the recovery part is you're going home, you've been training hard, you're going home, and you got to rest. I know a lot of you guys have to, train in the morning and then go to work and then come back home, and probably have to do a bunch more stuff. But unfortunately, we need to rest longer because we're having our system under stress. We not only just normal life, but even with the training load and the workout sessions, right? So resting is the most important part. If you're not resting, you're not able actually to recovering. Like for instance, people that actually sleep 4 or 5 hours a night and they're always active, they do a lot of work through the day, or if you're working in construction, or you do actually like manual jobs and manual work through the day, your training program has to be completely different from somebody actually works in the office all day and he has the time to actually sleep 9 hours every night. So it has to be completely different. So even the training has to be adapted to the rest, and you can do it to the nutrition too, right? So once you understand that you basically have to sleep properly, you have to understand also that you gotta maintain, and I know it's very hard. It depends, what sort of a lifestyle you have, and it's not that easy all the time. But you gotta maintain a sort of a constant training. Constant training means like that you can't train this week 6 times a week, and next week you're gonna train once. No, you can do it for a couple of weeks, up and down, it's okay. But in the long run, if you're looking for a longevity and a constant improvement, you got to maintain your training constant, right? So it's in terms of improvements, long-term improvements, it's much better maintaining your training 3 times a week for 1 hour, very consistent for maybe 2-3 months, then train 6 times a week for 6 weeks and then stop completely and then get back on. So you'll be improving a lot. Training maybe way too much, going towards the risk of injuries and basically fatigue and not actually being able to recover. And then stopping. So basically losing pretty much everything that you've been doing in the last 6 weeks because you can't recover enough, and then you have to stop because you go overtraining and you got to do other stuff. So it's much better organize your life in 3 times a week. If you can organize it in 4 times. When you start, you just, a beginner, you never really been in the gym. You're basically starting with 2 times a week, and it's way enough if you, do all the right things together. So once you organize your training, you can maintain it for long term. This is like something that's basically has to be approached as you're approaching a marathon run, right? So you know that you got to run for 40 Ks. You can't sprint from the first K that you do. So you gotta try to maintain your energy through and, go to the end, slowly improving and increasing the speed. So if you do the same in a strength training, if you're not really looking on improving the weight in that day and that week, you're gonna go looking for the long run results. There's gonna be so much better, and you're gonna maintain your training in a better position. The other part is understanding the risk that you have if you're not really training properly, if you're not training and resting in the same time. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about not about recovering in terms of sleeping, but recovering in terms of the day that you're training. there are a lot of different training type you can do. In the Olympic lifting, we train a lot, squatting repetition pretty much throughout the week. If you train 3 times a week, you'll be probably doing a squat 3 times a week. In the training program that I do for my Olympic lifting and for almost all clients that I have, these can be vary from leg day once a week, squatting day once a week, for instance, or 2 times a week. I have guys that are actually squatting 4 times a week. And squatting there, the volume has to be adjusted. If we going towards to pushing too hard and recover too less, we're going towards non-improvement first. So you're not improving. You've been basically doing exercise that you're not really going forward. And the other thing is basically you're going very forward to risk of injuries because you're getting exhausted. Your major muscle, they're not basically 100% all the time. They're always working at 70% because they haven't super compensate. And getting injured is so much easier, and you're risking way too much for the actually result that you wanted to get. So it's much better to understand what's your training volume that you can handle in that time, and slowly improve your training volume if you have time, if you're willing to, and then slowly you be able to actually train more often and get more and more result throughout. So I had a guy tell me, I had this online program, Olympic weightlifting online program from an amazing, Olympic lifting champ. He's been champ for 3-4 years. It's amazing. He can lift, 240 kilo above his head, and his training program is amazing. It's like it's perfect for him. It's amazing because he's been training for probably 22, 23 years. It's very young, but he started very, very young too. So he's probably started when he was 7, 8. His technique is amazing. He's perfect pretty much every single lift that he does throughout the day. And another thing is, when he started when he was young, he wasn't doing twice a day for 5 times a week. He was probably in training a couple of times a week just for fun with a friend, and it was improving. And with the time and after years and years, he actually improved towards to increase his volume, and he was doing a 4 session, 5 session, and now he's basically doing a 10 to 12 session a week because he trained twice a day, and he basically squats every single session that he does. So those are people that are extremely good. They're very lucky in terms of genetics, and they're pushing very hard, but they did exactly the right things throughout their life. So basically, they didn't start for where they are now. They started from the bottom, and especially when we started training in a different age, or my age, so if we started when you're getting 30 or 30 plus, adapting to training load is completely different. We gotta overcome a lot of different mobility issues and sort of a past injuries. Even like if you've been playing soccer or rugby when you're younger, you might sprained your ankle, your shoulder was sore, or you got hit too many times in the face with a boxer or stuff like that. You got your neck is sore. So when you start training, if you're increasing too much your volume, basically you're going to wake up back to the past injury days that you had. Because you probably have, from those injuries, you have a sort of weaknesses here and there that you have to address and fix. So, although you started training, that it gets to create your proper program. And if you're not really careful into it, all the other things, they're gonna go away. So you can't get stronger, you can't get bigger, you can't lose weight either, because if you want to lose weight, you have to be able to pretty much move throughout the day with ease. Like you have to be able to step up, you have to be able to do regular jumps, you have to be able to do pretty much all the regular activities to lose weight faster. This doesn't mean that if you can't jump or move very fast, you can't lose weight, but it will take longer, and the programming for you, it would be completely different. So once you understand there, you just got to figure out exactly where to start, what sort of program you want to start on, see and understand exactly what's what's good for you, what's wrong for you, what's your weaknesses, if you need to work on flexibility, and from there just slowly increase your training volume. And the most important thing is you really have to listen to your body, right? Like if you're coming home, you destroyed it, then you're very tired, you gotta look after the kids, didn't have time to cook, you're gonna have something very quick because you don't wanna, order anything, you're just gonna eat something quick, you go to sleep, you wake up 6 hours after, and you go into the gym and you have another training session, and that day the training session is like a high intensity, and it's one big day. You gotta test day, so you gotta do max set for 3 reps of deadlift or something like that. You're completely exhausted. You gotta understand that you don't have to push through because no pain no gain. It doesn't really work like that. Of course you gotta push through, but you gotta understand when is the time to do it, when you feel good to do it, and sometimes you just better cut back in a little bit in intensity and maintain and focus on technique, and maybe come back in a couple of days when you're actually feeling much better and push through that intensity and try the testing day. So yourself is going to tell you exactly if you're ready to go. Sometimes you just wake up in the morning, you're like, no, I don't even want to get off the bed, like it's too hard, I didn't sleep properly, or I had something wrong last night, and I feel a little bit nauseous now, and you just got to understand it. And if you're a coach like me, you see it pretty much every day. I just had a client a couple of days ago that is, just came to me and said, listen, I don't really feel that good today. Let's see how it goes first exercise. And I say, okay, no problem. This was the program that I wanted to do today. Let's start slow. Let's see how you go. And, I started training and actually warming up. It started feeling much better, and we ended up having a massive session. It was amazing, and he was very, very happy. But I didn't start with the idea yet. No, sorry, even if you saw, you're just going to go there and push as hard as you can. We got a little bit slow, and we actually got to the point that he was super happy. So I think from a 2-day talk to you got to get, if you're following a program that you found it online, that's fine. Just make sure that you actually understand if this program is good for you. First of all, if you have been doing it for over 6 weeks and you haven't achieved that many results, you haven't seen any little changes, especially in your movement, in an easy way to understand that is basically if you started with one weight and you ended up basically with the same weight, pretty much is going to tell you that you're not doing something right. So it's not completely wrong, but something it's wrong, in that period of time of your life. Maybe you overstressed from work, or you have to do too many things that you're not having, basically pushing, hard enough. And even if you eat properly, you might not even recover good enough, even if you sleep enough, right? So, it's a lot of little things that you can change, and you just got to try to understand it. If what you're doing at the moment is the right thing for you. And if it's not, just you just gotta get a help from somebody that's got a bit of a knowledge into strength and conditioning training. And checking the program is not really that hard. You gotta have a bit of a assessment. It's gonna spend a little bit of time with the trainer, and the trainer have to have the time to basically evaluate your movements, your exercise technique, and your program related to it. So it might take maybe 2-3 sessions to just understand exactly where you are and create a program that's a little bit better for you. And then, of course, you can actually keep going training by yourself and just maintain a good contact with the trainer that you have every 4 weeks, just to review again the programming and see if you're actually improving. Going completely by yourself, it's a little bit harder. Even if you have a lot of passion and you're really motivated and anything like that, it's a little bit harder, because if you go in the wrong direction, you might realize that you're in the wrong direction after 4, 5, 6 months. And that's good if you go time to waste, if you don't really care that much, so you only do it for fun. But if you really want to achieve results, you don't want to really spend 6 months of your life doing something that's not really giving you the results that you want. So imagine you could have got days and you got nothing. There you go. You're getting very upset, and sometimes you gotta think it through and maybe just hire a coach, hire somebody that's got experience in the field that you wanna go through, if you want to get fit, if you want to get strong, if you want to learn Olympic weightlifting, if you want to become a power lifter, whatever you want to do that makes you happy, if you want to achieve it, just get an expert and ask to review your programming, to review your movement, and to review basically the way you're training. Once you got there, it'll be much, much easier to train yourself. Of course, if you're looking for to have a better review in the following days that you live in around the area where I train, that's Mascot and Alexandria in Sydney, just send me a message and I can review it, and we can meet up, have a coffee, and we can talk through your programming. If you are overseas, we can do a bit of chat online, so we are going to have a Skype chat, and we can review exactly what you want to achieve. You can send me a couple of videos of your exercise training. I got a couple of guys, I'm from Italy, so I got a couple of guys from Italy, and they training with me for years, and they've been training very well, they've been improving, they've been sending videos here and there, and sometimes I realize that even if they started very well, they get lost a little bit, and when they send me the next video, I'm like, okay, this is very good, you've been training very hard, your weights are going up, but you lacking a little bit on core stability throughout the movement, and this is lacking of a technique, so you gotta fix your training, insert this type of exercise and review it, and they start again. When they come back, actually improve a lot. So like there is a lot of different ways that you can find somebody to help you out. So you can find them face to face, so you can find them online. Just make sure that you find them. For today is everything, and I'll see you next Thursday.